Hey everybody, whoop, let me get that out of the way. I am back. How's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for everyone who joined me a few minutes ago for the old impromptu session of Fireheads with Phil Tracy and John McCool. Sounds like we're going to get back together probably in a few days so that those guys can join me in eating one of the Naga Viper chilies. It was kind of fun. At the end there, John was hanging, saying he wasn't feeling the heat, and then all of a sudden, boom, his mouth was burning. And I tell you, when I turned off the camera, oh Phil, if you're out there, bro, you were looking bad. You were looking bad. I hope you're okay. Oh man, yeah, but those are some hot ass peppers. They both, of course, tried the famed boot jalakia or ghost pepper, as it is known as in English. But hey, thank you very much, guys, for joining me this week. And let's get things going. First things first, where is my stopwatch timer? Because you know how it is. If I don't put a timer on, I will talk forever. So we'll switch that to timer. We will set that to 1 hour. There we are. Boom. Okay. And come on, timer. Update. Well, isn't that a bummer? Let's see. Switch. What do its thing? No. You know what we're doing here. Okay, well, I have faith that the timer will show and work properly when I start it. So let's try that. Always something. Always something. Let's see here. I will burn a little of my time. Take one moment. Try and fix it. See what's going on with this thing. Perfect. There we go. Timer working. Okay. Thanks for joining me for John's computer troubleshooting minute. Hey, thank you, Celine. Glad you're here, bro. To keep an eye on me. I really appreciate you mentioning something in the last stream. I think you rescued it just in time before we missed the best part with everyone eating those peppers. So awesome. And without further ado, since the timer is going, let's go ahead and get this Primaris Outrider built. Now we'll turn on the lights so everybody can see. And of course, y'all know what we're looking at. Too bad. Too bad. Okay, so we're going to switch to the desk cam. There we are. See what we're doing. And let's pull my project into place. First off, we'll put our lucky Raven Wing coin in the middle to help the camera get something to focus on. And we'll bring our pile o bits into play here. There's one bike, and there's the other bike. And today, we're going to be running the fiber optics. In fact, pretty sure I can get all the fiber optics work done today. I also have my hot melt glue gun heating up in the background here. Nothing special about this glue gun. In fact, it is actually my wife's glue gun. And even after 10 years of using it in hobby, every time I get it out, I am reminded that I need to put it away properly when I'm done. So how about that? That's probably the only reason we still have a glue gun. If it was left to me, it would be long gone. Of course, last week we did work on the wiring. We got all of those working on there. And we also ran where our wires are actually going to go in the bike. So I'll remind you that we took out this bottom section down here, and we also carved out, we actually did that on both sides. It's partially assembled here as I was dry fitting. King of dry fitting, nod to you, Adon. There we go. And, there we go, get it. So anyways, get these two halves. So there we are. Okay, so this is kind of the important part. We need the light to get out to the sides. We're going to run the plasma reactor through here, and we're going to run the wires up through the bottom. So that's most of what we're going to do. And then the only thing I haven't drill jet is where we're going to run the lights through the display. So obviously I still need to clip this prong off right here, and we're going to then have to drill through this piece. So I guess we might as well take care of that first. So we'll grab our handy DeWalt centrifugal driver and some nice drill bits. Let's see here. Okay, so in order to go through there, I don't want to go too large. I was kind of thinking that we just kind of need to punch out, and if you remember, I better turn the light off. It'll actually be easier to see. So you can see that all I've really done is just gone through the existing piece, and then I attached my 3D printed bit. So that's just a little bit from Shapeways that was printed in clear resin, and there's a million jillion bits. So whatever chapter you're building, whatever icons you have, get that on there, or find something that looks like a computer display or a 3D spaceship, or maybe an orc that you're targeting. I don't know. I can think of a million things that might be cool to do there. So I'm just going to grab this 1/8 drill, put it in the chook, and let's go ahead and get that drilled in. Okay, so coming from the back side here. Nothing special. Just going to kind of blast out. I want to go in at a little bit of an angle, and I prefer not to actually drill through my fingers, so I'm going to go at a reasonable speed, and let's bring that up where you guys can probably see it. Tried that last week. There we go. Nice. Somebody said for reasonably sharp drills when you're doing this kind of work. You would be surprised at how quickly plastic can actually dull the edge of a drill. Oops, come on. Let's see if we can just torque on that. Get the chip out. Perfect. Okay, so one of the nice things with these titanium coated drills is when that titanium coating finally wears off the drill, that's when I know it's time to replace the drill, right? Because the coating's gone, the edge is gone. So get rid of the drill, save yourself time, hassle, wear on your tool. And of course, we'll defer that real quick. This time I'm using the dull X-Acto knife, not the sharp one, because I don't want it to dig in too far. So the dull one's going to give me a little more control for removing those large burrs. There we go, pretty nice. And we'll take that off the bottom as well. There we go. Also, with the dull knife, less chance you're going to cut yourself. Not zero chance. There is danger out there for those of you who only tune in to see the inevitable blood that will flow. Every model makes its sacrifice. Oh, and as I'm doing this, I see I didn't do a good job of cleaning up the mold lines. That's just a quick opportunity to blow those off there real quick. There we go. The right knife in hand anyways. Controls are always so hard, so I just kind of do one of these jobbies on them. Call it a day. Okay, looking good there. And there should be one more handlebar. There it is. Again, come out at an angle here. Try to get that through my fingers. Nice. See that? Yep. Screen every once in a while. Okay. Nice. 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 Hey, thanks. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, Alex has been my co-host on the podcast, and In Your Face have been building a Seraphon army lately, so I've been certainly listening to him talk about that a lot, and I think he and Jeremy have been doing a fair amount of live streaming, our Sunday live stream with those Seraphon. I don't know if you caught any of the TTS tournament that happened this last weekend. I don't know if with TTS, if you can go back. I think some of it was streamed, so you probably can go back and watch some of the games. But one of the neat things is when Garrett's running those TTS tournaments, is you can actually just log in and watch them. A lot of people are there on Discord doing that, so it's not too bad. I'm not real happy with this one here, so I'm actually going to end up, I think, opening that up a little bit more down just to get the light path right. I'm not worried about how far it is on top. That's not going to be a big deal. I just want to make sure the light gets down far enough. I'm going to kind of scoop out the plastic there. Nice. See that? So there, I just basically scooped out some extra plastic and elongated it so that the light, is basically going to cross over most of the screen here, screen area. And actually, while I'm at it, I think I'm going to take down the screen itself. So we'll just slice that off. There we go. Not too bad. I'm going to put a big bit on there. Ooh, yeah. That kissed my thumb real well. No blood. Again, good thing I was using the dull knife. See the line it left. Anyways, over this one here. And we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to open that up a little bit more to get a little bit better light path. Once I put the, we're going to use hot melt glue actually in this, in these channels to transmit and hold the LED in place, not actually a fiber optic. So that's one of the, shall we say, insider secrets of doing LEDs in models is hot melt glue. Hot melt glue absolutely transmits light wonderfully. And there's different grades of hot melt glue that I won't even get into the fact that, like, I don't know, I guess 20, 28, almost 30 years ago, I actually had to do a study on various types of hot melt glue and if for a particular industrial application. But as part of that, I was basically got a hold of every type of hot melt glue that you could imagine, and they have like caulking and fabric and all these different types. And what we were looking for in particular at that time was the type of hot melt glue that had the least stringiness. So if you guys use hot melt glue at all, you know there's a tendency for it to be stringy. And what we found ultimately was that the high temperature caulking hot melt glue was the least stringy, but it also had to be used at a pretty high temperature. So keeping the temperature high is your trick for keeping your hot melt glue really to be stringy. So as far as a modeling application, there's basically clear, and then there's a translucent variety of hot melt glue. And what I would say is that when you're in general just want to use something internally, kind of transmit almost like a lens, a high transmission rate, I would say, of light, then you're going to want to use the clear. But whenever you get anything that's going to actually expose to the surface or be seen by somebody, or you want to create a more glow effect, then you want to use the translucent glue because, of course, it creates that more diffuse effect. So 2 different kinds of hot melt glue that we're typically going to use in the hobby. Now, that said, I don't know if I actually have examples of both. Oh, yeah, there we go. Look at that. How about that? You can see here example of a translucent versus the clear type of hot melt glue that we have in here. And actually have just a couple rods of each handy for whatever. And for this particular application, I'm actually using the translucent because we're going to end up with a small exposed glow effect on the side of the bike right here. And the transmission distance, we're not actually using the glue very much, I should say, to transmit, say, down a narrow hole. But if we were actually, drilling a hole and then trying to pump hot melt glue down that hole to transmit light, for whatever reason, maybe you have a 90-degree bend or something like that you want to transmit light, then we're going to want to use that clear glue for a better transmission. Okay, so let's finish this off. We'll grab the old clippers. I'm just going to take that pip off there. Now, we're going to end up removing this piece, but I'm actually, yeah, you know what? I should just clip it now. I was going to say I should drill it later, but actually it's going to be easy to just clip it right now and create it, because I only need space for the wire to go through. So let's get that out of the way, and we'll do the same over here. Oh, well, actually, the little place that's out is really big enough for the LED. I see an issue with that, so could be a problem. Hey, what's up, Tony? How you doing? Shark Tank. Did you catch the hot pepper challenge earlier with John McCool and Phil Tracy? Guys, climbed ye old pepper ladder, as it were. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we got that clipped out, and one more to go. But again, that cutout is probably good enough as it is. And there we are. Okay, nice. Okay, so we're done with the drill. So it's the last time we're going to see the old DeWalt centrifugal driver for this particular project. So once again, not a paid advertisement for DeWalt, but honestly, I have yet to find a tool that works as well as this. If you want to drill, or because you can also get grinder and Dremel and saw bits, mandrels, all kinds of stuff that you can get with a hex driver. So that's one of the nice things, and of course it's a positive lock. But the thing is, with this one, you push the button, and if I hold it near, you can probably hear the vibration of it. You push the button, but when you push the button, the tip doesn't actually start spinning. And then as you rotate the tool, that's what causes the rotation. And you go back the other way. And so it just gives you this super fine control on your drill. And then as you're going in, you get it started. And of course, as you crank it, and you go back, and it just gives you this amazing control. And of course, the tool works in any direction. The trick is you have to start the motor in the direction you're going to work in, and then you're good to go. So anyways, that's the last time we're going to see that in this project, but it is a nice tool to have, kind of one of those, shall we say, luxury hobby tools. I think it's like $80. I will say that. So it wasn't cheap. I do a lot of other stuff, hobby, whatever. Need a new screwdriver, so it's all those things. Hobby question when you can. I've seen you use the Tamiya plastic glue where you drop the sprues to melt it together. Do you think if you used clear GW bases or a piece like that to make plastic stems and keep it clear, you know what? That, Tony Myers, is an actual genius idea. I respect your humility and asking it in form of the question. And since it was a question, that means I totally get to steal that idea in the future. So let me tell you about my future hobby segment where I do talk about Tamiya plastic glue with sprues, but instead with clear sprue. Oh my God, game changer. Now, I don't know that works, but in my mind, there's no reason that shouldn't work. So that's pretty awesome. And also not just for like the LED, like you think of like you have lenses and I don't know, like the fact that this is gray plastic doesn't matter. The fact that one is clear, if it works just as good, basically slightly enhances the total usefulness of it. So excellent. Yeah, no doubt. We'll have to see how that works out. When it happens, I might give you credit, Tony, or I might call it the John Feuerhelm method. No, I kid. Credit where credit is due. Credit where credit is due. Okay, so anyways, we have all that done. Now we're going to actually run one of the fiber optics. So this is the fun part. As you see, we have this 1/16 of an inch fiber optic material. And again, fiber optic is nothing special. This is just acrylic, clear acrylic. This is not like glass or anything special. It's clear acrylic, super cheap. You can buy it on eBay. I imagine Amazon or something like that too, but eBay is my go-to for this kind of stuff. Obviously, Tap Plastics might have this kind of stuff. Haven't been to them in a long time. And all we need this to do is be longer than I need it. Okay, and if we look here at the barrels on the existing one, and let me go ahead and turn those on. There we are. So if we look at those barrels on the existing one, right? So one of my super like hobby pet peeves, and it is a running joke, it's a thing, it doesn't matter that much, is the ongoing thing about drilling barrels or not drilling barrels. And whenever someone talks about drilling barrels, I always mention that I always mention that every time somebody drills a barrel, I can see that it's off center, right? And I can, right? You know, I mean, it's like a thing. So, but really, it doesn't matter because there's so many things that are off. I mean, like, you know, gaps and whatever. They're models, what have you. But I was thinking with this one that if I do the fiber optic as the barrel, that I could paint the outside, and then when I'm done painting it, just come back with a file and clean that up. And so that's what we're actually going to do. So that's why it doesn't matter how much longer I leave these, because once everything is fixed in place and glued, then we're going to clip and trim the ends to an even length. We're going to paint it, and then we're going to file it down till they're totally even after we paint it. And that's how we're going to get that perfectly centered. Ooh, yeah, that works out pretty good. I wonder if I get it to focus. Focus. You can do it. You can do it, little camera. I believe in you. Oh, there it is. Oh, nope, nope, yes, no. Oh well. Anyway, so we'll set that aside. And so let's go ahead and clip off these fiber optics. And so since these are not glass or anything weird like that, nothing special. Just go in and clip them. Again, like I said, just really extra long. Boom, done. Now I got the length, and I'm just going to make 4 more the same. So we'll come up here. Nice. And let's go for another. And here we go. Okay. And third one again. Doesn't have to be super even, but I like that to be totally out of control. And there we are. And last clip. Okay, so we got some nice clips there. Now, I am going to go ahead and file one end right now. So while I have them kind of lined up, what's going on there? Go get my handy dandy super needle file there. I'm just going to, come on, you can do it. There we go. Okay. And this is going to actually be the end that goes inside the bike. And so I'm just flattening it out so that when the light hits the back of it, we're going to get a really good light transmission. Remember, we're putting one LED down each one of these pipes. So get a nice end on it. Nice flat, nice big pickup of that light. Looks good. Good enough. Good enough. Okay, and again, we've got pretty even lengths. So with that, things are about to get serious, my friends. This is where the whole kind of, you get to do this once, and then it's done stuff starts happening. So let's get those fiber optics in place. And next, we're going to figure out what is the proper width. And that looks... right? I'd say those two go together. Easy to get them mixed up. You're saying, well, how can I tell? Well, there's fat holes and thin holes. And they're actually in slightly different places. And they're on opposite sides of the bike. So take those like that. And so you can see that in fact, when you look at the bikes, they are not exactly the same. That on center, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so you can see they're not exactly the same as far as those hole placements go. And so that's the easy way to tell which parts of the bike you're working with. You say, what about the third one? Yeah, it's the same as one of those two. So sorry, when you're building all 3 at once. Luckily, I built the right one first. Okay, so here we are. And we are going to put in the large fiber optic. And yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I myself do occasionally make little pew pew sounds while I'm doing this stuff. Obviously joking, but more realistically, when I'm building these models, a lot of times I'm just telling a narrative in my head. I'm thinking about one of the stories that I've read. You know, I read a lot of Black library fiction. Too much, probably. There we go. In fact, I just finished Saturn 9 the other day. Saturn 9 by Dad Abnett, the latest in the Siege of Terra series. Oh, man, that book was good. It was good. Just like a bunch of Primarch action. It was neat. What Dan did is he told battle from like every imaginable perspective. Like there's a great scene where Sanguinius faces off against a trio of Titans of all things. You know, because Sanguinius like obviously knows that he's going to die at Horus's hands because of his psychic vision. So he's just bonko right now, just going crazy. He's like, I can't die. I know when I'm gonna die. Tempting fate. So he's just doing all this crazy stuff. So it's just good action. And then so Sanguinius and the Khan are basically carrying most of the action. Okay, so now if you're like, well, which of these goes on here? Well, again, because the holes don't really line up, you just got to find the one. Now, I already clipped off the pieces, but the holes still have to line up. So there we go. And this is the last one. Okay, so now, why, John, are you putting on the cowling? Well, if you notice on this model, which is, for the record, substantially easier to build than the old regular Space Marine bikes. Way nicer kit, way easier. Not just the newness of the kit, but the actual design. But as you see, I have to get the right spacing on the legs for the fiber optic. And I want the fiber optic to come really close to the legs. And I'm even willing to file and shave a little more of the legs out to if I miss it by a little bit. But for the most part, you see that like this gap right here where it's not fitting together, that's how much I need to take off of the fiber optic, okay? So if I was being like Precisemo, I might pull out my little scale and take a quick measurement, but I just kind of eyeball this. Or a little trick is you kind of push it all in one direction. Come on, you can focus. You can do it, camera. Ah, very nice. And now I see on the one side how much I need to take off, right? In fact, it almost lines up perfectly. So I need to take off about, yay much. So let me get in with the clippers and try to remove yay much. Now I'm going to actually file these down a little bit. So I want to have a little bit of extra material. So I just went in and scored it with my clippers. Now I can take it out where I can clip it with a little more control. And we'll get right in there. Now for this kind of a cut, we want to be deep at the base of the clippers where we have a nice leverage, nice good force. I'm going to protect it over here. And I've got the angled side on the side I'm going to remove. Okay? So we're going to come in here. I'm just going to apply a nice, slow pressure. I'm actually feeling the plastic underneath give, and it popped. And that was me going a little too fast. If I had controlled it just a little better, I could have gotten a little bit deeper into that plastic before the acrylic actually shattered, leaving that little gouge that I'm going to have to file away. Now, which, of course, that's why we left a little extra material. And then we're just going to take our file, and we're just going to shape a little dome on the end of this thing. Just kind of come in here and work that file around at some angles at first, kind of breaking the edges off there. Yep, spin it. Nice. And just kind of get that all around. And eventually, once we kind of have it shaped, the little chamfers, then we'll start going in and actually shaping a sphere on there. And there's other ways you could probably do this. Now, I got that gouge to deal with. So first off, the gouge is in the center tip. So no matter what, I got to file away down below the gouge. Just kind of power through that real quick. Okay, so we got the gouge out of the way. And then again, we're going to work on those edges. Going to form kind of like a cone. My goal is a sphere, then I want to start with about a 45-degree angle on my file relative there. So you can see the angle that I'm holding it at. And my goal is to file down about halfway towards the center. And so as I'm stroking the file, I'm also spinning the bit. So I'm spinning the bit, stroking the file. I am basically turning the file into the nap. And what you can't tell is that I'm only applying pressure on the file as I'm pushing. And so that's the trick of using a file is you have the bite in one direction. Well, most files you're going to use are going to have the bite only in one direction. So you're basically going to, push, release, push, release, push, release. And it's a natural thing. It's not like you have to spend massive conscious thought. And then like anything in the world, it's about reps. And that's what, it's funny. I just finished, I think I've mentioned a couple times that Arnold Schwarzenegger autobiography. And that's what he keeps talking about. It's about reps. And this is, mirrors a thing that I always talk about when it comes to like learning complex skills. And I say, the most complex skill in the world becomes easy by repetition. And the thing I always like to cite to people is tying your shoes. If you think about it, putting your shoes on and tying those little bow knots or double knots or half hitch or whatever kind of weird knot you use on your shoe, then there's like 30, 40, 50 steps involved there, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. So if you're going to be doing stuff like that, I mean, you don't even realize it, but you trained for a long time to learn to tie your shoes. And the same thing goes for like hobby skills, work skills, art skills, using the airbrush, modeling, painting, everything becomes easier through repetition. Now, unfortunately, that actually doesn't mean you get better through repetition. It just can mean that you get easier at doing a bad job if you, for example, just repeat doing the same poor job over and over and over. In fact, this is the thing you encounter a lot at work is people in a non-feedback environment, right? They don't know, you get no feedback, so they don't know if they're doing a good or bad job, or they're in an environment that doesn't care if they're doing a good or bad job. So they never know if they're doing a good or bad job. And so they're like, oh, I've been doing this job for 30 years. And it's like, well, great, but are you good at it? There might be somebody who's been doing it for a year and a half who put some effort in and they're actually better at it because of that. They're less experienced. They might be harder for them. So, the same thing comes with modeling. So that's what I would say is, take the time to not only, put in the reps, and most of us do. Like Warhammer is a wonderful hobby for putting in reps for painting and modeling and a lot of these different skills. Reading. But as you go along, I always like to try and pick up skills. And for myself, when I first started, getting into Warhammer, I have a lifetime of diorama building, model railroads, all kinds of stuff like that. Started getting into Warhammer and started meeting some really good artists. People like Israel Sanchez, Caleb Wissenbach, a lot of other people that I've met over the years. And whenever you meet Seth, of course. Sorry, Seth. You're out there, Seth. Can't forget Seth. My true hobby sensei. So anyway, Seth Amston. So as we go through and I meet these people, and even other people that are excited about learning something new, they always be like, oh yeah, do this. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. Like, don't tell me to do this. Tell me one trick. And so that's what I did for years is, I would meet these amazing artists, these amazing hobbyists, hell, just, regular guys at the store who made some awesome models or did something, had better, more skill than me. And I would ask them, well, how'd you do that? But I'd tell them, I go, look, give me one trick, one tip. And then they would tell it to me and I would just go master that. And then that's how I kind of learned. It's like I'd learn that trick, that tip, that technique, whatever it is, one at a time, go work on it, go apply it, ridiculous amounts of it, put in the reps till it becomes easy, and then go seek the next technique that I want to learn. And I've just been doing that for, years and years and years. And it's just, to me, that's how you build up. It's not like anybody. Well, some people are obviously naturally talented and they are amazing people. And we all know people like that. But for the rest of us, this hobby and what we do is a series of learned skills, right? And that we just, execute and practice. So, okay, so there's as much shaping as I probably need. I could probably do a better job. I did a real nice job on that side. But this other side leaves a little bit of desired. I'm not actually going to file the second one on air. Once again, I will do that work in between like I've been doing typically. So we just want to get one of these ready to go. So we're going to put that there. And let's get those legs on and see if we got the spacing correct. Correcto, nuffo. There it is. Am I not on camera? Yes, we are. Okay. And not bad. To me, it looks like we still need to take a fair amount off this side, or I could trim the leg a little on this side. And that side, I already, you can see cut pretty deep into the legs. I think I might just remove a little bit more of the leg in this. So kind of go in there and make a little carve out. See how that fits. And get that together. I should have like a rubber band or a twist tie handy. Oh well, I don't, and I'm not going to hunt one down right now. And let's just get that there and that on. Okay, so there's my fiber optic. Slide that in. Come on now. Slide that in. And let's see how we're looking. No, that wasn't quite enough. You can see where it's hitting. I think I have to take the fiber optic down just a hair more to make it work on that one side. I think I can get away with just kind of taking the angle down, and then we'll rotate it once it's in place. I actually kind of hold it in place anyway, so not too bad. Let's take that side down. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Twist tie right now would save me a few seconds each time I test it. Let's see how we lined up. That file to rotate this thing. Oh yeah, that's good. Part of it, I see part of the problem is I think this isn't quite fitting. I actually need to trim this pip down a little more. That nice and cleaned up. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay. Thought you said this was going to be easy. No. Anybody who's talked to me about my last bikes will remember that I spent about 8 hours building and painting each one of those bikes. Full 3 bike squads. So that is time I will never get back. That's one of the things that's nice about Primaris. One, I am excited to be diving into a nice, robust lighting project like this Primaris bike. On the flip, oh yeah, see, there we go. On the other side, I'm also happy that I don't have to build as many. So I normally gripe about the rule of 3 as a bike army guy. I guess there are enough different types of bikes to where I can't complain too much. And certainly the rule of 3 keeps me from having to buy a ridiculous amount of Primaris Outriders. So I think that's pretty good. It's, maybe just a hair more. Hard to say. I think we'll get away with it. Just going to kind of hit the file on the inside of the leg here a little. I'm using the back side of the file, so you see I'm quickly taking down some material to make a clearance. And get the same going here. If anyone's looking there inside the legs of my model, they are looking too close. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so looks pretty good. Okay, so now we've got both of our fiber optics cut. We've got our bike ready, and you're saying, my gosh, John, are you actually going to do like some glue and wiring and stuff and show us how all this works? Yeah, I guess I can't put it off any further. We're at that point. And turn that light off. We're going to do the guns first. Flashies untangled. Come on. Okay, got them separated. Okay, so now this is the tricky part, as it were, because we have to accomplish like 7 things at the same time, and as long as we do them all just perfectly, everything's going to work out. So, let's see. First things first, glue time. So, got my handy dandy glue. And you notice I just used a dental pick in the end of my tester's precision tip here. And of course, we're going into a negative recess. Still be politically correct to say that is a female recess. Anyways, so that's why we put the glue on this side, so that when we put the filled space hubcap in, it pushes the glue down, and there we go. It's a little bit crooked, but man, it just doesn't matter. Okay, and let's see how that's going to fit. Oh, is this even the right wheel? So let's see. Primaris wheels definitely only go one way. And that hub is a little distorted, so that's why it's not starting right. And so, yeah, I think that's right. Because if I point the hex bit straight down, it looks like the flat part of the wheel is encapsulated inside of there. Think on that for a moment. They had to put a flat on the wheel for it to fit inside the wheel well. Things that make you go, See here. It's not too much glare, but that way as I'm leaning forward, you can see my lovely profile here. Okay. So we get that wheel in place, and we probably could glue it. Doesn't really matter that much. Definitely going to clip the pip off the bottom. And back wheel in place. What else? Got the leg ready to go. Leg ready to go. And do I need the body ready? I should probably have the body ready. I'm going to need to put that in between the legs. And just right one. First off, let's get rid of these things. No push to fit for us. Ugh. No snap tight, right? You guys build snap tight models when you were younger? I know I used to love, I think, going to the grocery store. I always talk my mom to buy me a snap tight model. Best. Okay, so this must be the right guy. And the reason I'm saying that is I see there's a pistol over here, and there's no pistol in the holster. So this one does have a pistol in the holster. Pistol in the holster has to be dude with the chainsword. And so there's my other arm. There's riding arm. This is going to attach the leg here, but I don't need to get that ready yet. And here's the other pieces. Here's the pistol arm, and here's the other chest piece. Flip that. Oh, I should have replugged my glue. If you're doing a bunch of rapid gluing, it's okay to leave it like thus, but otherwise, always best. So you can see it's already starting to dry at the tip there. Now, that's why the dental pick is handy. And just bam, knock that out. And then I actually put this tip on a few weeks ago, before the first episode, and it's pretty good, like I said, but I just left it undone for a minute. So just stick that in there, break the crust, as it were, and we're back to gluing. Being difficult. See, those flown a minute ago. I get. You can see it. See the little bit of glue that dried. Get it out. There we go. We have glue. Okay, we'll dab that over there. Good old Tester's orange glue. Suitable for glue sniffing if that's your thing. Otherwise, keep a window open. I happen to have a fan on me and a window open for the record. I often put a fan in my window to exhaust the vapors away from me when I'm doing this kind of stuff. Oh, so then now, of course, there I sit down again. Now I've got a big bloop on it from actually having to push. There's my dab over there on the side, which, of course, is inevitably what we're going to stick our finger in or something. Elbow. It's by my elbow. So that's what we'll do there in a minute. And there we go. Okay. And actually, after saying it like 5 times in a row, plug the darn glue. Okay. Got the bodies glued together. And we're figuring out which body belonged to which. And I think it's safe to say that this chain sword, yep, the chain sword goes there. So that's going to be the body that has the pistol in the pocket. And therefore, this one over here is the one with the pistol drawn. So this is the body that we need for our model. And that is going to end up going right there. Helmet on the leg. Just not the best fit on the tops of these, but was really not having you see this one ended up with a pretty good gap too, but just fill it better. Okay, so I think that's it. We're ready. All the pieces are there, and that's why I said this next part's tricky, because once we start a hot melt gluing, everything just has to be assembled now. So we got 14 minutes left in the session, and that's probably exactly what it's going to take for me to power through the rest of this. I'm going to set my glue off to the side here so it's not out of control. See our little hobby mess zone. And here we go. Once again, glue in the hole, not in the shaft. Wet the hole, not the shaft. Wet the hole, not the shaft. Gotta lick it before you stick it. Okay. And over here, we'll cap our glue. And get our fiber optics ready. There's one. There's two. Okay, so here's how the build's going to go. We're actually going to just stick them together with the wires coming up through the hole into this section, okay? The tricky part is actually getting this thing in the right place and the right angle to begin with. Okay, so we're going to hold it in place with some hot melt glue, and we're just going to tack it with that for now. So let me get the hot melt glue gun. Bum, 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 hot melt glue gun. And here we go. Don't burn yourself. Oh, not enough glue to squirt the glue out. So let's reach down here. Again, I'm working currently with translucent, as opposed to the clear glue. So we're going to grab the translucent stick. There we are. Just like that. Now, these things have triggers. I personally always like the thumb on back mode, but that sticks a little long for that, so we are stuck with trigger mode. And let's tack this thing in place. Angle approximately right. And there we go. A little bit of glue. It's nice and rubbery. Can move the thing a lot. I've got a lot of working time with the glue. Obviously, there's string, blech, but not much we can do about that. It's just going to happen. Okay, so now we're going to run the next lights. There they are. And specifically the blue light. Come on. I got like glue string. It's like I walked through the haunted damn forest. Okay, so I'm going to take this. We're just going to attach it to this. So you can see as soon as we bring it in contact, the thing just glows beautifully, right? A nice glow. And ideally, we're going to take that wire and I'm going to shape it a little bit. Just give it a little curve. I'm going to retch it. Now, these are nice chips, and they have a lot of... Let me turn it off for a sec. See how close we can get to seeing what's really going on there. Focus. Camera is amazing sometimes. Can we do it? We do the super macro shot. Come on, camera. You can do it. Almost. Just almost can get it into focus. Oh, wow. Okay, enough of trying that. So anyways, for as well as we could try to see it, you can see these are just a little chip. You can see at least when I get the glint off of it. So we're going to want to get this thing to attach right off the back here. So I'm going to come in with the hot melt glue gun again, and I'm just going to put a little dab right on the back there. Come on. Use my beard to push the glue stick back in. That third hobby hand. Okay, there we go. Yar. And make sure I turn it on so I make sure I use the right light. No other reason. Okay. The glow we can estimate, but it is nice when you have it on because you do see clearly how well you did with your glow. And here we are. First piece of the puzzle is stuck, as it were. And I'm just going to blow on that a little. Cool off the glue. Not a lot of glue in there yet, so I have plenty of flexibility and all of that. Just want to have the LED tacked in place. It's still going to have to be moved a little. I don't think I have the positioning perfect. We're pretty close. I'm just going to gently wrap that wire around that shaft one time. Gently, need a toothpick. Keep that LED in place. There we go. One time. So that way when any yanks, anything that happens, heaven forbid, the bike comes loose from the base in the future or something, we're not going to, necessarily yank that LED right out. Okay. Came out pretty good. Let's close that. Now, from here, pop that other side on. Just going to estimate getting this thing into the right spot. And so here we are. So I'm going to turn off the light for a second so you can see what's going on a little bit better. Let me turn this other light off. Flashy McGee. Okay, so we've got the LED in there, and I'm just centering that piece of fiber optic. It looks like it's pretty good right now. Okay, now I'm going to pop it open. Now that I'm pretty happy with the position, I want to get just a little more hot melt glue gun. Yeah, there we go. And come on. There we go. That's a nice little guava glue. That's holding the little wrapped around wire in place. A little more in there. Now, I don't want to go too much all the way around because I still got to route the other wires past here. So let's go ahead and take care of that now. Now, you'll notice that this blue wire is kind of on its own, and it's actually going to get pulled back. Most of this wire is going to get pulled back into the base. And then here, of course, is the red light, and it's a lot shorter wire. Let's just unwrap that, another wrap. And we're going to bring it in. We're just going to get it ready to go up through the handlebars. And if we look at our kind of positioning, and just so we know what we're dealing with here. So I got this in place, and I guess if this guy is that handed, excuse me, where's our guy? That means this guy, so that has to be our bars. No. Yeah, this has to be our bars. So anyways, it doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to bring the bars kind of in place to where they're going to be. You see that? There we are. Okay, so we bring the bars in place, and I don't want the LED sticking up too far. So you see there's actually not a lot of room. So I don't want this like poking out too far. I'm going to pull it back kind of just about even with that gas tank hole. Maybe a little above, maybe a little below, but really I'm just going for even. There it is. Boom. And with my thumb in place, I'm going to bring that hot melt glue gun back over. And let's just get a nice little glop right on that wire just to hold it in place. Now, nice thing about hot melt glue guns that people don't often realize, but I'm here, the expert of hot melt glue, to tell you, is that if the glue cools, like here, my wire just popped out, and let's say I didn't notice, and then I allowed the glue to cool, it wouldn't really matter that much because I can bring the tip of the gun back in and remelt the glue. And you can do that at any time. So there's your other secret trick with hot melt glue, is that you can use the tip to remelt at any time. And of course, I just gently wrapped that red wire around that center shaft also. And we've got just enough glue to hold this one in place. Okay. Wow. So that wasn't terribly difficult. And seem to have got it. And then these wires, we're actually just going to run, be like 7 hands is what you need. So these wires, we're just going to run up and past and kind of getting the length right so that they're going to end up in the gun carriage area. They're going to route, got a bunch of the stringy crap in here already, so clean that out. Generally, it doesn't matter a lot. It just starts getting annoying. If you're just gentle. Always, these are brand new types of LEDs with me. And, they don't have the plastic shields of the kinds that we're used to working with. And so they just seem like they're going to be that much more delicate. They seem pretty robust so far, but just always got to be gentle. I can tell you, actually, the traditional LEDs are much more delicate when you're working with them than you would expect. So the cheaper tins and metals and stuff that are used. So just trying to get the tips of these so that they're just about the right length to end up in there. So I'm kind of guesstimating that a little bit. I think that's about right. Let me pull those together. See, I have them at an uneven length. You can see that. Line those up really carefully together. Really carefully. Come on. Now it is this delicate work. Got it. Got it. Okay. Wire back. Again, I'm just going to kind of hold it about where I want it to end up. A little bit of extra wire is not too bad. And wrap over here popped off when we did that. Put that back in place. Ooh, let's see. Do I have my tweezers handy? Where are the tweezers? No particular tweezers. That's amazing. Thought I had like all my hobby tools and bits over here. So use a toothpick. A toothpick? Yeah, toothpick. It'll work. It'll work, I swear. Okay, well, this is the part where it's all going to hack on us. But we can do this. We can do this. Just got to be patient. Don't rush. Okay, we got the loop back in place. Got my fiber optics back where I want them. Come on. That's the easy part. There it is. Caught it in place. I'm gonna come around. Should have been gentler, but at this point, got to make that work. Come in with the toothpick. Pushing that wire down. Okay. Nice. So now we've got all our wires running out the bottom. Very nice. Okay. And go ahead and put that drop of glue in place to hold all of those. A little more toothpick. My off center. Let's put this back on center, which will help me find the center. There we go. Okay, you can do it. Push that down. And glue time. Now the temperatures here aren't enough to damage the wires. Not enough to desolder anything that I've seen ever. Those aren't really concerns. And now get a little more glue because I got the wires where we want them, so we can get this stuff to hold. Put a nice dollop in there. A little bit of a mess, not too bad. Okay, that's all we're doing for now. Let's push everything where it needs to be. And we'll just kind of hold it there. Uh-oh. Is that it? That's our time? Okay. Well, that is why I have a timer on there. We got our hour of hobby in just in time. I got that fiber optic in place. We got that glue in place. We got those wires in place. Oh, look, I got the hot melt glue melted to my thumb at the last minute. Oh my gosh. There we are. Okay. So, looking good. Well, and with that, we're going to call it a week, everybody. So that's what we're ending with. We got our plasma engine in place on the bottom. We've got our wires secured in place with a bit of a mess of glue. By that third one, we'll get that neat. By that ninth one, they'll look like artwork in there. We did get the lighted display LED in place. We have the 2 lights for the guns routed. And it looks like next week we're going to start off by putting in the 2 fiber optics in the guns themselves, and then we're going to backfill this area with the glue, and that's the point where we're going to actually have to attach the other half of the thing, of the bike, as well as the 2 cowlings, and we're going to have to do all of that pretty quickly, so going to be pretty delicate work there, so lots of prep, moments of execution. Again, let me switch back away from the super duper hobby cam, and once again, thank you everybody for joining me tonight. In Your Phase Media, this has been John Feuerhelm with a Wednesday Hobby Night working on the Primaris lighted LED bike. Thank you again for joining me. Don't forget to tune in to In Your Phase Media. We should have our podcast coming out on this Friday, both podcast and videocast, and of course live games streamed on Sunday. This week is going to be a 40K week. We're going to review some of the new releases from GW. Talk about the Necrons, the Marines, mostly the Necrons. Actually, let's just say it. Alex gets super excited about the Necrons and super talks about Necrons. It's a pretty good show. And then, of course, this week, I don't know if we're playing 40K or AOS, but you can check back on the webpage and get more info. So again, thank you very much for joining me at In Your Phase Media. This has been John Feuerhelm signing off till next week.